Did you feel that by coming forward and going public, they couldn't just snuff you out?
That was, I mean, that's what I was told, and George and everybody, said that. You got, it's public. There's, no one will touch you, and I fell for it. And
Do you wish you didn't?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes when it's just overstressed and people are camping on your lawn.
Yeah, but this is going to make things worse doing this.
No, this is going to make things better.
That's what I was trying to tell him.
How is this going to make things better?
Well, because you're getting a real chance to explain yourself in a way that's going to make people who not only work in the government, people that are police officers and firefighters and first responders and doctors and scientists, they're going to empathize and empathize with what it must be like to be a person like you in your 20s who gets thrust into this world unknowingly and confronted with one of the most, if not the most, important discovery in the history of human beings. The big question, are we alone? It's the number one question. There's two questions, right? What happens when we die, and are we alone? Those are the two big questions.
Right.
And if we're not alone, and someone knows we're not alone, and these some people who know we're not alone are these bungling sort of
even if they weren't,
folks.
it's a crime that they're not telling the rest of us.
But I mean, I don't mean bungling in terms of they're incompetent. I mean, they can't be competent. It seems to me, to what you're describing, that no one can be competent with this technology. Like the Victorian era scholars analyzing some sort of a nuclear reactor. There's no way.
Why do you think they're not telling us? Let's just make an assumption that this is true right now. Why do you think that they're not telling us, that our government doesn't tell us? What's your best
Well,
thought?
let me put it into what you do. If I'm the president, okay, and I get this information, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? There's something that we don't know. There's something we don't understand. There's something that came from another world. We got it tucked away in the mountains. And just wanted you guys to know about it. Hey, sleep tight. Hey, American Idol's on tonight. Who do you think's going to win?
Yeah.
Who's going to win America's Got Talent?
That's not going to happen.
So one is uncertainty, and the other one is what Bob and I have talked about a lot. Absolutely not knowing what to tell people because you don't really understand it yourself, even though you've got these...
What do you say? If you want to run a government, you want to get people to pay their taxes?
But there's something else.
Yeah. What do you say?
So you have these objects flying with impunity, right? But you have something else.
Well, not only that, what can you say? Like, how much do you really know?
I think it's mainly the technology. They just want to keep the technology secret because
military.
If there's,
whoever gets this wins, dude. They win.
You control the world. You literally become invincible once you master the technology. You cannot penetrate a field like that. So imagine I know it's all science fiction, but science fiction turns into science fact. If you have real force fields around aircraft and battleships, you win. You win. You can force your will upon anybody. And like I said, there's so much more to the story. When I was first there were Russian scientists at S4. This was early on in the project.
So this was before Operation Paperclip became public as well, right? So
I would imagine.
That was...
I don't know what the dates were.
Yeah, when was that?
When did that... Was that...
98, I think.
98.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the dates on it.
So it's roughly 10 years later, Operation Paperclip becomes Freedom of Information Act.
We're talking about Russia, not Germany. He's talking about Russian scientists.
Yeah, but I mean, Russian scientists, a lot of them came from Germany. A lot of those rocket scientists that work with NASA, they all came from Nazi scientists.
Got it.
So some Russians got some of them.
I just know at some point there was intense cooperation
with Russia.
I mean, even exchanging some ideas on nuclear weapons and EMP tests and stuff like things we would never have discussed with them. But at the same time, it was in the late 80s. They were involved and actually in the area at S4 with us.
So you got to communicate with these guys, or you saw them?
No, I knew they were there. Barry would talk about the commies that were there.
The commies?
Yeah, the commies. And
that was back when they were the commies, right?
Yeah,
it was the Cold
they
War.
were real commies.
Isn't that interesting?
At some point, it wasn't our group, but at some point, there was a big discovery made. And this did not happen when I was there. It happened in between my trips to there. And after that, apparently, they decided it was just too cool to share with anybody, and the Russians were never allowed back on the base after that.
But you don't know what that discovery was?
No. Now, like I said, it wasn't my group. So one of the other groups really found out something.